Is hackery a word? Because I feel like somewhere somebody will be saying that today, that it's probably hackery. Is hackery a word? Let's just get started off on the right foot right now. So today is the day I'm gonna cut the hood. Why? Because the brake parts that were supposed to be in today, I got the phone call, they didn't come in. Gee, this is my shop face. So today we're cutting the hood. Now I'll show you how I do it. This is not how everyone does it. You don't have to do it this way. It's how I like to do it. So I want to have a little bit different look with this car, so I'm gonna cut it a little differently than I normally would. But one thing that is the same is the process I go through. I am a guy that tends to over think something, and I'm the guy that'll measure and figure 100 times before I do something, especially something as critical as cutting the hood, because I don't want to have to fix a mistake. I want it to be done. So let's take a look at how I do. Now again, I'm not saying everybody has to do it this way. There's probably guys out there that have a lot better methods. This is my little backyard garage method of how I cut a hood. So the first thing I do is lay a tape line out to where the hood would be. Up here, I put a spacer here, I run tape across here, and yes, I know tape moves, but that's not what I'm trying to do. So, or that doesn't matter to what I'm trying to do. So I lay my tape lines out, and I go around where I think, close to where I think the hood would be. And that way it gives me a measurement of what hole I want to cut. Now, if the hood's up a little, down a little, it's not gonna matter, because it's not like I'm sitting here trying to trim it out around each little thing and make the shape of it and all that. I'm not. I'm just getting a hole. I take that and transfer that hole to a piece of cardboard. So that piece of cardboard will then lay on the hood and I'll trace it. But what I'm gonna do is a little different on this one. And again, I'm doing it because of a visual. I want this thing to have that cartoon kind of 70s weird street freak kind of look to it. So normally I would cut it right around here and give it some of this shape so that the hood open and close just like this. But I think what I'm gonna do in this case, and there's a reason, and I'll get into that reason in just a second, but I think what I'm gonna do in this case is I'm gonna cut it close to the shape of the carburetor, or close to the size of the carburetor. That way you close the hood and then you have to put the scoop on top. The scoop will not fit through the hood because the scoop is way bigger than the carburetor. Now, there's a reason why I'm gonna do that. If you look, the scoop is both wider, longer, it's all around bigger than the carburetor. But there is a reason why I'm choosing to cut the hood in this manner. It's actually a twofold reason why I'm cutting it. But number one, if you look at the hood, it's hard to see in this, there's a ridge that runs right down this hood. And it gets a little wider toward the back. So this hole right here is almost the size of that ridge. If I made it the size of this, it would go past that ridge on both sides. Aesthetically, that wouldn't look all that great, but it's also going to allow it so that line follows all the way down, and then the hood will come up a little higher than what this is, and it's going to look like this is just laying on top of the hood with that body line running, funneling right into the scoop. So that's reason one. Reason two is after drag week, it's probably not going to be running the tunnel rim. It's probably just going to be running a higher rise intake spacer plate, which means that all of this won't be here. It'll just be, the carburetor will probably be real close to the top of this and a small breather on it, and it's just gonna have a scoop on the hood. Already got the scoop and all that figured out. So with that being said, I want to put the smallest hole possible in the hood for planning into the future. So I made a cardboard template the size of the hole. Now this one works out to where it's almost square. It's just a little off, but it's almost square. So what I'll do now is I will find the center of this and make a hole in my template. I'll make a hole probably about the size of my thumb, or maybe my finger, just a hole so I can see through the center of this. So then what I will do, I'll start pulling measurements on my hood. I'll pull measurements from the body both ways or three ways to where the center of the carburetor is. I will then pull those same measurements on the hood and I'll mark the hood, allowing for a slight body gap. And I measured it ahead of time, but probably what I will do is pull off of that just a little bit so the hole ends up being just a little bigger than what I need. So if all goes right, I will have probably an 1/8 inch gap consistent around the top of the carburetor, so that when the hood shuts, it's just right, fits good. That's how I do it. You don't have to do it this way. This is just how I choose to do it. Now what I got to do is go get me a new saw blade, because I don't have another saw blade. So I actually prefer, a lot of people do it different ways. There's guys out there that take plasma cutters. That's fine. That's a little rough on your paint. There's guys out there that take a cutoff wheel. But rough on your paint. And a lot of sparks, a lot of noise, a lot of... Anyway, I actually have a little air saw too, and that's the one I used when I done the Galaxy, and it worked good. But constantly running, and the air compressor's constantly running, and so let me tell you what I normally do, or what I do the majority of the time. I go straight prehistoric, dinosaur age on it. And I get a really good high-end metal blade for jigsaw. Then, to save my paint, I tape the hood up with painter's tape, mark everything off. I'll drill a pilot hole for the jigsaw blade to drop in. Then I will also put tape along the foot of the jigsaw. I got very good control. Make a very good hole. No over, no cut over, no cut under. It makes a good square cut. Then I can come through there and just lightly dust the edges, and it's done. Perfect hole. Again, that's the way I do it. You don't have to do it that way, but you're going to see it done that way. So here's what I do. I take my measurement from the back of where the hood is to center of the carburetor. It looks like in this case, we're going to say 16.5. And to double check my math, I'm going to blindly go around to the other side. Blindly, I don't even know what that means. I'm going to walk around to the other side with my eyes open and look and double check myself. And after double checking everything, 16.25 seems to be my huckleberry at the center of the carburetor. So I'm going to mark 16.25 on my hood. What I'm going to do is lay out my tape measure, and I'm going to mark 16.25 on my hood. From the back of the hood up, I'm going to mark 16.25. So I've made a line, 16.25, right there. Beep. Made a line, 16.25. Now I'm going to measure from the side. Despite what you may think, most engines do not set center in a car. If you look, it is 24, let's call it 24 inches to center the carburetor on this side. And on this side, we've got, let me straighten it up. We've got 23, let's look straight down on it, 23 on this side and 24 on the other side. So how do we do that? Well, I'm gonna show you. So I was at 23 from the driver's side, if we remember correctly. So I'm gonna come in here at 23. Let me get the camera so I can see what I'm doing on what 23. Now I was at 24 on the passenger side. So I'm gonna set the tape measure up, and well, just look at that. It falls in the exact same place. How about that? Worked out perfect. I know this sounds like something you would hear in a bad B-rated porn, but always check your hole. And the way you check your hole is you measure diagonally to see if you're square. And I've checked this one, it's dead on. All the measurements from the side over, from the end up, all that is dead on. So this hole is absolutely perfect. That's our center mark. These are off to the side. That hole right there should be just right to slip down over the carburetor. So we're gonna double check our measurements, and then, well, I guess then we get to cutting. Well, I'm sure you can't hear it, but you know, when cutting a hole in the hood and using a tire to keep everything off the ground and make sure you got space, make sure that the hood is not over the tread so you don't saw through your tire. Just a public service announcement. Well, I got a little adjustment left to do, but yeah, let's see if I can get backed up enough to where you can actually see the greatness here. Yeah, that right there is pretty good. I got just a hair left to do to get it just right. Well, that's pretty good. And I've got a pretty clever idea how to dress this up. But I'm not gonna tell you about that one. You're gonna have to just see it. But I got a pretty clever idea for it. But that right there is 70s at its finest. Yeah, I'm digging it. Do y'all realize how hard it is to make content anymore? Jeez. This brake stuff's supposed to be in a day, so I can do the brakes for the car. Didn't come in. Won't be here tomorrow. Okay. So we move on to cutting the hood, getting the hood on. Perfect. But I want to do a little something special right through here. Why is my finger pointing at it there and not here? It's like here, here, here. Nope, right here. I want to do something a little special right here on the hood. Have all the materials to do that with. That's here in my truck. And my wife's driving my truck today. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll letter our King Baron sponsor on a Galaxy. No, we can't do that because my stuff to do that is in the truck as well. Do you see where we're going here? We'll get back on Betty White. No, I don't have the gaskets to do Betty White. Seriously. Let's just look at the Cougar at least. Let's just at least get a small victory today and look at the car. Can we just look at the car? Because it's bitching. But I don't have a drive shaft in it, so I can't back it outside. Why do I do this stuff?
Hey man, them ain't high heel sneakers, and the show don't look like cowboy boots. That ain't